Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 835 Southwest Cozine Lane here in McMinnville. We're located at the right side of the home. We're just inside the little garage here. Just inside the door we have a 3-inch ABS cleanout as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Here we go. It appears it is actually 4-inch in diameter. We just have a 3-inch clean out here. And it transitions immediately over to cast iron pipe upon access. Transitions to 4-inch concrete pipe here at 8 feet. Yeah, we've got some roots coming up right here at about 11.5, 12 feet out. If you look at this joint right here on either side of the screen, it looks like the aggregate is wearing through to the point where it looks like a hole is about to open or has already opened to a certain extent there. Another large root intrusion here at about 20 feet. And we get a little bit better view here at this joint. You can see that there's a lot of aggregate rock showing through, big chunks of aggregate, but right at these joints here, you can see how it looks like it's opening up to the ground there. That dangling from the top of the pipe, or that joint there, that's looking like more than likely it's a cobweb. That is not terribly large. Usually roots present themselves a little differently. But this joint here, again, this one, if you look to the right of the screen, it looks like we have a hole there in that joint. It's a fairly common spot for that to happen as a line gets old. It's an edge for the water. It's a spot where water has to go against it. There's resistance there because of the lip on the edge. It's pretty common to get the joint wearing out. See right there, we've got another hole in the pipe. So it's not that the lines, it looks like right now it's still functioning to a certain extent. This one's got toilet paper caught in that hole there. We're getting openings in just about every pipe joint here, unfortunately. It still looks like it's getting debris from point A to point B fairly successfully. But with the combination of the roots, the aggregate rock that's showing through right now, it looks like we've got holes that are opening up in a lot of the different pipe joints. Typically, I don't recommend spot repairing lines that are in this kind of condition. The flow line here is showing so much aggregate rock through. At some point here in the very near future, you're going to start getting pebbles busting away from the pipe walls. That we already have a lot of joints that look like they're open to the ground. And with this root intrusion right here, there's definitely no reason to spot repair this thing. We've got roots from point A to point B, unfortunately. Well, we'll see how it drains out. If we don't have any standing water left over, you might have the option of doing a pipe liner, epoxy liner, which doesn't require any digging. However, if you have bellies in the line still, you're going to retain whatever standing water is currently there. The transitions here at 86 feet over to 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe. This is probably where the city has done their update. Out in the street, more than likely anyway. Now we've got another line tying in right here. So more than likely, sometimes especially these older neighborhoods, the line will literally be continuous with the main lateral essentially. So I'm going to locate and see where this is at. More than likely, we're already past homeowner responsibility. My assumption here, you'd have to contact the city to verify it, but probably at the transition from concrete to PVC is where the city takes responsibility. Okay, so right now we are over near the apartment building that's just to the right of this house. We're in the sidewalk area. There is a clean out a couple feet away from where I just located the camera head. Now I don't know if that's a tie-in for the clean out or possibly a Y connection coming into it for the apartment complex. Either way, we're in the sidewalk area at this point. I'm not sure. This is one of those that's kind of difficult to tell if we've reached the end of responsibility here or not. But being in the sidewalk, generally out here in McMinnville, usually by the time you hit the right-of-way, the city takes responsibility. And we're back into concrete pipe here. And this is as far as I'm going to be able to get to at this point here. I'm losing all my pushing power at this point at 107 feet, 108 feet. Now, first and foremost, what I would do is contact the city, find out what type of situation you have here. That Y connection there, it could be for the clean out that's in the sidewalk. It could also be a Y connection for the apartment building that's right next door to this, again to the right of this house. We're going to reel back here to the transition from concrete to PVC. I'll get that located and marked, and I'll start mapping it back from that point. Now we've got a tie-in there as well, so this might be the clean out here. We're going to go locate again. And I'm locating this here. Neither one of those locates at the Y or the clean out here are directly over the top of the, or I'm sorry, this is not necessarily a clean out, but the tie-in here. Neither one of them is directly over the clean out access plate out there in the sidewalk, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not the clean out. Sometimes they don't not totally straight shots in, but given where that's at in the sidewalk, it's right where the line butts up against the sidewalk. It's a very common place for a test tee to be. And Anyway, I'm going to locate and map from this point back. What I would recommend is contacting the city, find out how this line is arranged, if it is a shared line, or anything of that nature. It appears to be one, but it's difficult to tell. That clean out where it's at out there, that, you know, the Y connection could be a clean out access, and that other tie-in could just be a test T. It could be that one of them is an actively used sewer connection as well, and the other is a clean out. It's kind of hard to tell right now. So I'm going to locate and map the line from this point all the way back to the cast iron transition. Due to the fact we've got a lot of aggregate rock showing through, many joints look like they've opened up to the ground, and we have multiple root intrusions. Okay, so I have to push a little ways beyond that transition there. It's underneath a whole bunch of bushes and all kinds of stuff over there. So this marking here is not necessarily going to be where the repair needs to go, but this is the only way I can map out and show where the line's running here. Alrighty, we're about 4 feet, 5 feet back from the sidewalk with a white X on the ground. I'm hitting the depth there right around 6.5, 7 feet deep. It's a kind of an awkward spot to locate because, again, there's a bunch of bushes there. This guy here, I'm pretty sure is going to be smacked out under some bushes. We're going to pull it back just a little bit further than this and try and locate it. Alright, we are clear from the bushes here. Let's put a big white arrow on the ground. We're about 4 feet 6 inches deep. And this guy here might actually be a root that's penetrated the sidewall of the pipe. It's a bit thicker than the average cobweb would be, but it's quite thin by the time it reaches the top of the pipe there. That's kind of hard to tell. Anyway, we've got the massive root intrusion here at 82 feet. It doesn't look like, just looking down the roadway out here, that it doesn't appear that there's a main lateral that runs all the way down in front of the house. That's why the line is going where it's going, I'm pretty sure. Which makes it a lot harder to figure out where responsibility lies with it. So, very important to contact the city and find out where they divvy responsibility. I would imagine to at least that transition there at 86 feet is probably homeowner responsibility. The line does partially run under a whole bunch of sticker bushes here where I've been able to put a little paint marking up underneath them, but it's a spot where I cannot get right over the top of the line there. Hey, we're about 3 feet 3 inches deep, something like that. This is right where the driveway meets up with a bunch of sticker bushes off to the right side of the property and to the right of the driveway. I put an arrow right there. Here, we're about 3 feet deep here as well. We're in the driveway area. So because of that, I'm not going to put tons and tons of paint markings down in the event that the repair doesn't happen or something like that. There's just going to be a bunch of white dots outlining the direction the pipe's going. Alright, we're at 2 feet 2 inches deep here. Looks like we're getting, yeah, we're seeing roots right there. Another pretty large root intrusion there. I'm looking for the cast iron transition. Yeah, we got a bunch of roots there right off the bat. So far, though, the line has drained out nicely, so hopefully we can get back to the cast iron, and it might have been just all the roots in the flow line kind of damming things up and going out. Which, again, it gives you the option of doing a trenchless epoxy liner on this thing. If it drains out as well as it has been this whole time here, it makes for a much cheaper repair because you've got a lot of asphalt this line runs underneath. last marking I'm going to do here is going to be the cast iron transition. Yeah, they got a lot, especially right off the bat there. There's like 6 different root intrusions. I'm going to put a white T marking right here at 8 feet. From 8 feet to 86 feet, I recommend a full update to the line. The line right now all the water's turned off, it looks like it's draining out nicely. It looks like it still has proper slope and grade. Unless you've got holes somewhere that's letting water leak out of it, it looks like you could probably do a pipeline around this. So I would certainly look into that repair prospect. There's a myriad of different ways you can do it, but this, if you can do a liner, it will avoid having to saw cut the driveway. All right, cast iron transition is underneath the carport that's closest to the roadway. We're at 1 foot 3 inches deep there. And by the time you get out near the end of the line, you're right around 7 feet deep. We're going to go ahead and reel the camera on out of the line here. Again, recommend a full update to all the concrete pipe we just scoped there from 8 feet to 86 feet. And then from that point out, where we hit that Y connection, I would contact the city to find out if you've got a party line. We're going to try and pop that thing open to see what we can see there. If it looks like that might be the Y connection, find out where responsibility lies with this line. If it continues all the way out to the main road, you've got a seriously long sewer line here. But generally, once you get to the sidewalk, usually the city does take responsibility. So definitely want to look into that. And make sure you get a rescope done after the repair work is finished to make sure everything looks good. Alright, we've moved over here to this clean out and I was able to pop it open. So kind of give you a better idea where this line is. So we're looking at the apartment building here right now. The side of it that faces the street. The house is over here off to the left, and here's the clean out and the sidewalk. It's a full-size 6-inch clean out. Generally, you never see clean outs this size if it's still just simply homeowner responsibility. So my guess is we're going to run through this thing and we'll hit that Y connection here. So we're going to verify that. Alright, and there is the Y connection. So right now this does appear that it is a shared line by this point. So anyway, you still double check into it. Sometimes you can have things that look like they're partied up but aren't, but I can see water flowing through this right now, and we have no water running in the house we're currently trying to scope. So it does look like either the apartment complex or some property at some point ties into this thing. So just double check that, but where I have my last paint marking here is about 5-6 feet back away from the sidewalk, but the actual repair starts in amongst all these bushes and ends in all these bushes here. That marking there is about 4 or 5 feet out from where the concrete transition actually is. That's just there for reference purposes.